Welcome to Car Sales Talk 101, where it's all about life in the car business. Telling you like it is. Here's the man with the plan, Terry Cameron. Let's get started.
Welcome back to Car Sales Talk 101. I'm Terry Cameron. This is episode 108, but before we get started on this one, I again want to remind you to hop on over to Apple Podcast, give me a rating, and write me a review. Not to mention, you can reach me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can send me an email at 10minutessalestalk@hot.rr.com. Let's get started. Like I said, this is episode number 108, and it's called Shortcutting, the slow death of a salesperson. Now, I want to tell you a story about, I guess it was probably maybe 15 years ago. I decided that I was done with the car business, or at least I wanted to do something else. I don't want to say I was burnt out because I was never on fire, but I decided I was going to try something else. I was approached by a company. I don't want to say their name, but they were out of Chicago, Illinois, and the potential, as far as the potential income, at least what they told me, it was pretty lucrative, and I thought, hey, that's something that I could do. So I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, kept putting it off, but it just stayed in the back of my mind, was really attractive to me, and I decided I was going to go ahead and give it a shot. So I flew to Chicago, and the training, or at least the initial training, was a week long. And in our class, our training class, we had about 40 people in it. And we had probably 8 or 9 trainers throughout the week. And they told us there wouldn't be very many of us left by the end of the week. And that wasn't very promising to me. But hey, at least I got to see Chicago for a little while. Anyway, while I was in this training, I kind of took it serious because I still had, my family's livelihood at stake. And I paid attention, and I paid attention. Every day I was at class first, and I was the last one to leave. As a matter of fact, I went to Staples, and I bought a voice recorder so I could record everything that was happening in our training and in our classes. Of course, I was given permission to use it, so I did use it. And after each class, everybody would run to the sports bar, including myself. The sports bar was in the hotel, and that's where we had dinner. But the difference between me and them is I took my voice recorder, and I sat at a booth. I had my drinks and my dinner, and I listened to everything that happened throughout the day. So I just reinforced it, and it helped me the entire week. So at the end of the week, we started with 40 at the beginning of the week. At the end of the week, we had 7 people left. So 33 people were either eliminated or just dropped out on their own. And we sold surveys. In other words, we said, if you let us come in, survey and interview people in your company, when we leave, we're going to give you a roadmap to how you can double and triple your business. And if that didn't work, any money that you spent with us, we were going to refund it to you. So that sounded pretty easy to me. Why wouldn't somebody want to better their company, at least with that type of guarantee? So my first 3 days on the road, I was with what they called my senior executive. In other words, he was the sales manager. And I followed him around just to a couple places. And after witnessing what I had said to his customers and working with him, he told his boss that I was probably ready to be on my own. Now, the way that we got our appointments, we had our telemarketer, I would say, but it was an assistant that scheduled our appointments for us each day. And our appointments were either 4 or 5 of them each day, and they were all in the same general area. They were in a position to where you could work a 9-to-5 job and be out of there. It wasn't an all-day thing. But sometimes when you went to visit these people and you finally got to the company and found out that nobody was available, and you got the gatekeeper or the secretary saying they just said you were going to be dropping off some information, and when I would say, yes, that's me, I'm the information, I'm dropping myself off, but the boss wasn't there, I had time to waste. And that's what most of the other area managers were doing were wasting time. What I did is I took my business cards and I went to other businesses and I introduced myself without having an appointment, and I got to see them and I got to sell some surveys that way. Within 2 weeks, I was considered a platinum area manager. A platinum meant that I could sell a minimum of 4 of these surveys each week. And I got a special prize for that. I got a portable DVD player that would help sell projects for me. Anyway, I did so well, so to the point to where I was asked to go to Vegas for the annual conference, get up on stage in front of all of these people and tell them how I did it. About this time, though, I was really thinking about this was not for me. The car business was so embedded in me, I missed it. Not to mention I owned another business at the same time that took up what free time I did have. So they invited me to go, and I told them I really didn't want to. So they asked me if I would at least get on a national sales call with everybody and participate. I said, sure. So I got on this call, and the first thing that all these high achievers said were, how'd you do it? What shortcuts did you take? I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. How did I do it? I was just doing what I was taught. Comes to find out that what I did that was so odd to them was I ran every one of my appointments. I went to every business I was supposed to see. I didn't pre-qualify them and say, yeah, they're probably not going to be there. Or that business never, that type of business never buys these surveys. I went to every single one of them. I didn't realize that I was allowed to take shortcuts and pre-qualify and not hit all of my appointments. Now, actually, we weren't allowed to, but that was something that happened all the time. I just didn't do it. So that's what I told them. The only thing I did different than they did is I ran every one of my appointments. I did exactly what I was told, which brings me to my motto: 100% of the process to 100% of the people, 100% of the time. And I carry that with me today. And that's what happens in our business right now with salespeople and sales managers. Eventually, we start taking shortcuts. We start finding things that are not important to us, or at least not as important as they used to be. We figured it out. We ran out of time. We had too much on our plate, and I know sometimes that is a problem, especially for sales managers. There's more and more asked of you every single week. There's more things added and piled on your plate. So I understand that, but you cannot take shortcuts, because as soon as you take a shortcut, your salespeople are going to take shortcuts. And in my episode, I talk about the green pea slump. That's usually the beginning of the green pea slump, when we start taking shortcuts. The process is there for a reason. You have to follow that process. I know it's been around for a long time, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We can always make it better, but we don't have to dismantle it and start skipping some of our steps. It's just too important. If you can follow the process and you can follow it religiously, you just get really good at what you do. And it doesn't seem robotic. It doesn't seem like it's scripted. It's just a natural thing to do. You cannot shortcut a presentation. You cannot shortcut a demonstration. Remember, 50% of the people that said they got what they thought was a good presentation and demonstration bought on the spot. You can't shortcut. You can't jump to the end. I'm one of those managers that do not like to get credit information up front. I'd rather treat them all the same way and then let the numbers fall where they might. So, guys, I know I got off track here a little bit, but shortcutting it's a disease, and it's terminal. You cannot shortcut. If you are going to shortcut, that becomes your new process. And as long as I've been in the business, those processes don't work. You got to do it the way it's supposed to be done. Maybe I learned that in the military, because if you shortcut there, you get shot between the eyes. You have to make sure you're doing it the right way. Don't shortcut. Give the process the attention that it deserves. And please, managers, don't let your people take the shortcuts. Hold them accountable to the process. Hold them accountable to your process, to your dealer's process. All it's going to do is help you make money, them make money, and everybody's happy. Please, shortcut the end of a salesperson's life. It's just not worth it, especially when we can prevent it. So, remember guys, the sky's the limit. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please rate it and write a review on Apple Podcast. We appreciate your valuable feedback. You can email Terry at 10minutesalestalk@hot.rr.com. And don't forget to share the show with a friend.